Hey Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, I just want to say Native Roots Radio is always excited to be partnering with Little Moments Count to host a conversation focused on early childhood development. We'll be welcoming monthly guests and talk about how they view the role of early childhood development in creating bright futures and strong communities. Today we have a guest, Liam Mackin, and Liam is a communications and development manager at Reach Out in Reed, Minnesota. I just want to welcome you, Liam. Thanks a lot for spending some time here on Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, hey Robert, I'm so glad to be on today. Thanks for having me.
Hey, for listeners who may be hearing about Reach Out in Reed, Minnesota for the first time, what is the organization and what is your mission?
Yeah, so Reach Out and Read is a program that's created by pediatricians who saw this awesome opportunity that they have to make an impact on their young patients' lives. So the original program started back in Boston in the late 80s, and it was started by this group of pediatricians who decided we're going to try handing out books at all of our well child visits, checkups ages 0 to 5, and just use that as a launching pad to kind of talk with the parents, connect with them a little bit more deeply, and talk about why things like reading with their child are so important for their development. So here in Minnesota, we've had clinics participating since 1997, and we've grown to over 300 clinics since then. So every well child visit, every checkup, the child is going to come in with their parents, with their caregiver, and their pediatrician, family physician, whoever is their primary healthcare provider is going to start that visit off by the gift of a brand new free book. And we find that is just a wonderful way to start a visit, for one thing, and also a way to spark this broader conversation about, well, how is your child doing? You know, what can you be doing to help their, you know, with their brain development, and what's good for their brains at this really important early stage.
Talk about a little bit about the process. So you have books there, and why is it so important? I know for me, when I go to the doctor, the dentist, I jump on one of those magazines, People magazines, or whatever they
Yeah.
have in there, and start reading because usually there's a wait.
Well, that's great, Robert. Yes, that's great too. And I imagine that you like to read those magazines because someone probably read to you when you were a young child,
Yeah.
that's really what makes all the difference. Yeah, and so the book is really, I mean, books are wonderful. We love them, but what they are is that they're a tool, right? So they're this. A launching pad for this broader conversation, right? So we use books as a way to be able as a portal, or as a way to start this conversation or this bonding experience between the parent and the child. And so what it is, you know, it's really important for a child to have what we call language-rich interactions. So essentially, that's just kids hearing lots and lots of words, and books are in a fantastic way to make that happen, right? Because they give you the guidance. You have pictures you can look at. You have pictures you can point to. You have all these words that are built in. You have these wonderful stories, and for that child's brain, they're just absorbing all of that information, and they're also being snuggled up with and with their parent and caregiver, and that's how they know that they are in a safe space, and that they're cared for, and that also is super conducive to their brain development. And so when our pediatricians or family physicians, nurse practitioners are using this program, the book is this great tool to get that conversation started. And then I also use it at the start of the visit often to assess the child's development. So they're going to see, okay, well, is a child reaching out for the book? Do they know what this is? Do they hold it right side up? How do they respond to questions about the book? And those kinds of things. You know, I'm no pediatrician myself, and so I don't have all of the technical language, but our partners are always telling us that those are the kinds of things that really let them know what's going on in this child's brain. Are there things that we need to be paying a little bit closer attention to? Do we perhaps need to get this child screened for any particular disability, or do we need to, or are we getting the sense that this child might be spending a little bit too much time on the screens? And how
Yeah.
can we guide those parents in a conversation that really feels mutually respectful, and you know, we like to call it coaching, you know, we're in this together, and how can we guide those parents towards these healthy behaviors that we know are so helpful for their child.
Yeah, you know what I wanted to key in on what you said too. The child's brain, what happens when the caregivers and spend time reading to the children? What happens with their brain? I know you talked a little bit about
Yeah.
feeling safe. What else happens?
Yeah. So, I mean, as we know, children's brains are incredible things. You know, we still don't even fully have a really clear picture of how brains are so complex and they're so amazing. And at this young age, they're literally making millions of new neural connections every moment. And that is just something that's really hard for us to even fathom. And what they're doing is they're making these connections that they're going to use for the rest of their lives, right? They're kind of building these pathways in their brains that help them figure out what's going on around them, and figure out how they're going to keep learning about the world around them. And so these connections that they make are really, really important. And the way that we talk about it is, I referenced this earlier, is language-rich interactions. So when a child and their parent or caregiver are just having these interactions between them, that's what really helps the child's brain start to make these connections. You know, we talk about how, you've probably heard, you know, people always saying, "Oh, children are little sponges. They're soaking up everything around them," right?
Mhm.
And that's true. They're soaking up a lot, But unlike sponges, the children will talk back, right? And that's a really important part. It's not just talking at them. It's not
Right.
just telling them. It's about the interaction, and that's what's really magical, I think, about reading, is that you can, you're pointing to the pictures on the books, and you're saying, "What's going on here? What do you think about this?" And other activities, just like talking, like just chatting with your child
Hmm.
is an amazing thing to do for their brain. Chatting, singing, kids love to sing.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a great voice, your child doesn't know that yet. You can just sing away, and they'll be having a great time.
What I like is Reach Out and Read Minnesota partners with Indian Health Services and tribally affiliated clinics across the state. Um, why has it been so important to build relationships with Indigenous communities, and what have you learned about that work?
Yeah, so our IHS and tribally affiliated clinics, they're some of our strongest partners in the state, and then also some of our clinics that also serve Native populations as a part of their mission that aren't necessarily affiliated with a specific tribe, such as Indian Health Board or Native American Community Clinic. Both of those are in Minneapolis. They are awesome. Indian Health Board has been, they've been a part of our network since they were one of our first 3 clinics to join our
Wow.
program in the 90s.
Cool.
And they've just been, I think, one, because we know that unfortunately a lot of the communities that they serve just don't have access to the same level of books, especially some of these clinics located in rural areas. They just don't, frankly, have the same access to these early learning supports as a lot of other communities. And so that's a really important part of our mission, right? We want every child in the state to get our program, but we are prioritizing first those children, those families that may not have access to this information, to these books otherwise. And so, yeah, we're at a number of different reservations across the state, and we're at Leech Lake, Boys Fort, Red Lake, White Earth, Lower Sioux, and like I said, we're also at a number of these clinics that are serving these Native populations as a part of their mission. And I think they've just been, to speak pretty broadly, they've just been some of our most enthusiastic and helpful partners. And it's just been really exciting to work with them.
Wow, we are here with Liam Mackin, who is the Communication Development Manager at Reach Out and Read Minnesota. Really some exciting news about brain activity of our young ones. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Stay with us. Ho!
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time. Time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Hey, this is our version of a Little Moments Count here on Native Roots Radio, and we're here with Liam Mackin, who is the Communication and Development Manager at Reach Out and Read, Minnesota. We were talking about a little bit about some of the nations and the clinics, Native clinics that all the places that you have books, drop off books. I'm curious, again, thanks for being on, Liam. I'm curious, tell me what kind of books do you, and age groups and things like that, what kind of groups or kind of books do you send out to these places?
Yeah, so that is a major focus of our work, right? So the book is like I said, is the launch pad to our program. It's how it gets these conversations started, and so we want to make sure that families are taking home books that they that are, one, development appropriate for their child, and two, that they can get really excited about. So there's some of our younger children, those are going to be really, the books are going to look pretty basic, right? They're going to be those high contrast books that, as children or even babies are starting to develop their eyesight, right? That they can kind of distinguish and have something to look at. And then they get a little bit more and more involved as they go on. We'll have books that, use a lot of different language and language patterns and they're just kind of geared towards each of the age groups that we work with. So we're working with that 0 to 5 range. So it's pretty young. And we also have books, we want to make sure that, like I said, that families are excited about the books that they're getting and they feel that these books are for them. So we work with books in, well over a dozen, I think close to 24 different languages. We do a lot of books in Spanish, Hmong, Somali, Karen. And then we've also done, we have books that feature Dakota and Ojibwe languages as well, which is really important for our work. I think, especially with those families that go in and just say, oh, this book is representing, this book is written for people like me, right? It's written in a way that celebrates or recognizes my culture, my people, my family. And so we work really hard to make sure that those books are, one, really high quality. We want to make sure that books are, if we're doing a translation of a book, we really want to make sure it's a quality translation, because it's a way of letting the families know that we see them, we accept them and we celebrate them, and we want them to be a part of this beautiful experience of reading together.
Yeah, and it's like I think we talked a little bit off camera or off the radio, is that how important it is for young ones to see themselves when it comes to being a children's book or things like that.
Absolutely.
It's so important. I came from the era of I'm old. I came from the era that every Barbie doll was blonde hair, blue eyed, and so it's great to see that people do understand that it's important for people to be brought up and love who they are by seeing themselves in so many different ways.
Yeah, and absolutely. It's about those, the representations, just having people that look like them, and then also books about, that contain those cultural elements too. So it's not just token representation, right? It's not just putting a face on there and saying, all right, we're diverse. It's about really representing those stories and those different backgrounds more fully as well.
So what kind of stories or is it just really kind of all over the map when it comes to what the theme of the stories are?
Oh, totally.
So give an example that you can think of off the top of your head, because when I think about this, I think about, of course, we're talking about early childhood. I'm thinking about those big graphic books that have beautiful pictures and paragraph story on each page. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's going to vary definitely by age group, and then also just by what the families and the folks working at the clinics find are working. So we have a huge range, right? Those early childhood books, they're not going to be as narrative based. If there is a narrative, it's more for the parents, because the child's not going to be, a 6-month-old child's not going to be following along story. Really, the important thing is that they're just being exposed to the language. I know, like, my sister was, when she was reading to my niece when my niece was really little, she would read, fantasy books and whatever books she was reading, just so that my niece would hear that. But those, the early childhood books are going to be, it might be really basic, like first words kinds of things. And then as we move on to a little bit older, yeah, there's going to be a really wide range of narratives. We have all kinds of books that, we try to instill good messages for the children. Some of the books, like Pete the Cat, they're mostly just fun, and that's a huge part of like getting a child and the parent excited about the book. And of course, they do have good messages as well. And then some books, The Snowy Day is a classic, and it resonates especially well for us up here in the north that get lots of snow and know
Yeah.
what the snow days are like. One of my favorite books, I can't speak to all of our books have this message or this message, but one of my favorite books is Windows by Julia Danos, and it's this awesome. I just think it's a really beautiful book, and it's about this child on an autumn day going out for a walk in his neighborhood and just seeing through the windows. It's this urban setting, and just seeing through the windows all these different families or people, living their lives in the evening. They're having dinner together. They're talking. They're doing all these different kinds of families, and I just feel like that's a really beautiful book of just this is what it's like to be in this world, and this world full of all these different kinds of people. So sometimes the messages are they'll hit you over the head. They'll be pretty direct, and other times it's just sort of these more subtle stories. And it really, again, it's going to be a huge range.
Hey, we are here with Liam Mackin. Reach out and read Minnesota. One of the things I neglected to do in the first segment, and I want to do a couple times, is how people can learn more about Reach Out and Read.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, reach out and read mn.org is our website. That's a great place to find all the different resources. You can find us on social media, Reach Out and Read Minnesota on Instagram, Reach Out and Read Minnesota on Facebook, on LinkedIn. And you can, very likely, lots of times, you'll be going to a clinic and maybe you're receiving a book and you might not even know that it's the Reach Out and Read program. So ask your clinician, ask your child's doctor, ask your clinic that you're at and say, hey, do you all participate in Reach Out and Read? And what does that look like for you all?
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way to learn more about how it's being implemented in your community, whether you have young children or not.
Excellent. And one of the things, we're winding down here, and I want you to take your time on this question. But if there's one message you hope every parent and caregiver listening today takes away about supporting children during the first 5 years of life, what would it be?
Well, first of all, I would say take a breath. You're doing a good job. If you're listening and caring, you're already on the right track. I think there's so much pressure that's put on parents these days, and they're getting so many conflicting different messages that first of all, just recognize you're doing an awesome job. You're caring, and that's going to be the biggest element. And secondly, I would say keep things simple. Spend time with your child, listen to your child, interact with them, see how they're feeling, and just surround them with language and love. And I think that is going to be the biggest difference maker.
Yeah, definitely. And I know as a Choka, a grandparent again, they're going to be 2 years old in August, and we've been watching
Oh, that's awesome.
the twins. And what's always exciting to see, because my wife and we read to them, of course, the parents do too, uh, is when they come to our house, they grab a book and they hand it to us, and they
Oh,
want us to read with them. Whether it's colors or elephants. And my wife's vegan, so she has a lot of animal elements in
no,
their
sure.
room and in their books. So, but and they come in and sign cow, and
Oh,
yeah, it's beautiful, and they're very smart. And a lot of it has to do with what you're saying, is that
mhm.
whatever you focus on, these young ones will really absorb.
Yeah, definitely. And I can tell that those kids, that's a great sign that they come up at you with the books. That's exactly the kind of behaviors that we're trying to instill in families all across the states, just to say, get excited about these books and about those little moments that happen between parents, grandparents, caregivers, whoever it is, and that young child.
Yeah, and we're gonna wind up here. We got like a minute left. I really, again, want you to give out the information about reach out and read, and also just a last statement, because this is a really beautiful and a really beautiful organization, and I imagine people can donate or find out more information from you too.
Yeah. So again, you can find us at reachoutandreadmn.org. You can email me if you want to reach out directly to me at liam@reachoutandreadmn.org. And I obviously love to talk about our program, so I'd be thrilled if you emailed me. We have all sorts of initiatives going on across the state, and we would love, the reason we're able to make this happen is that our community steps up to make it happen. Our clinicians are stepping up to say, this is something that's important in our community. We want to get these books into the hands of children. We want to have these conversations with parents and caregivers. It happens because we have our funders across the state. We have it because our donors are stepping up and saying, this is just something that's important to us. We're going to make sure that this happens. And so really it's a collective effort, and we invite anyone and everyone to be a part of it in a way that works for them. So,
Oh, this is really great. This was really great, and really things and it's always good too, even if we know this information, it's good to hear about it again and reaffirm that people with little ones are doing the right job, because we need them to know as many words as possible those first 5 years.
Absolutely. Robert, thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, right on, Liam. Thank you. We'll have you on again. This was really good. Reach out and read Minnesota with Liam Mackin. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time. Time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. There's a lot happening in July. It's America's 250th birthday. Aquatennial is also coming to Minneapolis later this month. You've also got beach days, fishing days, time spent on the playground with the kids. So what are you coming home to at night in terms of your carpet cleanliness? If the answer to that is questionable or worse, then you need my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come help get things in order this summer. If your carpet's looking more like a snowbank in late March, muddy, crunchy, and kind of mysterious, it's time to call Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $139 and get your air ducts cleaned starting at $599 per unit. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and say you want the AM 950 special. Back order forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and hey, we are with our friend Colette Lawrence, who is from the Minneapolis American Indian Center here in Minneapolis in Minnesota. Thank you, Colette, for coming on, and tell us a little bit about what you do there at the Minneapolis American Indian Center.
Thank you, and thank you for asking me to be on your show. My name is Colette Lawrence. I'm Ojibwe from Leech Lake. I'm the NEST program coordinator. NEST stands for the Native Elder Support Team. We do a lot of things with our elders here. We have a congregate dining program. What time is it? In about 20 minutes or so, they're going to start lunch downstairs. The lunch program's been up and running about 2 months after we opened 2 years ago. And even though we were closed there for a little bit, we did provide some lunches to our elders for a short time while we had the funding for it. But otherwise, we do a lot of different things. We have what's called morning enrichment, and that's from 9 to 11:30, where elders come in and they can visit. They can have coffee or tea. We usually have some kind of light snack for them. But a lot of it is rooted in traditional values, our own traditional values. Our programming is done with an Indigenous lens. Next Tuesday, for an example, one of our field trips is we're going to go out sage picking. And so definitely doing some cultural activities with these guys and bringing them out, physically bringing them out to do some of these things.
That's awesome. How do you qualify? Because I know I'm a baby elder. I'm 65 years old. How do I get signed up for something like this?
Well, most of our programming starts for a lot of the native elders at 55. Our lunch program starts at 60. The program that brings in our lunches is Optage. They're federally funded to provide these lunches for elders, but their age requirement is at 60.
So you just sign up?
Yep, you just come on in and sign up. We'll give you a menu, and as long as you're over 60, you're in. And, this isn't just for natives. We're a community center. It's open to all community members here in South Minneapolis. But you don't even have to come from South Minneapolis. A lot of our native elders are coming from outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul, some of the suburbs. They're driving in to come have lunch every day with us.
Yeah, I'd have to cross the river from St. Paul over there. Oh, hey, so, tell me your connection to women's heart health. I know that's a big thing that you worked on over the years. Tell me about your connection with that.
Definitely, like heart disease, diabetes, some chronic health conditions that Native women definitely are dealing with. We got in with heart health, starting up with doing pickleball for Native women on Tuesday evenings from 5 to 7. So we picked an activity for this grant that we figured that was new, that was innovative, but also, that our community wasn't really engaging in either. We have a lot of fun. It's open to, Native women. We have some non-natives that come in too, but it's really for African American and Indigenous women. Black and brown women is what they refer to us as.
Nice. So pickleball, how good of a pickleball player are you, Colette?
Well, let me say I'm a novice player. I've never gotten outside of the Indian Center or gone to any other court. I actually am pretty good, I think. I mean, it is really good exercise. We have a lot of fun laughing, a lot of these women, especially if you're new at it, you expect that you're gonna, I'm like, you know what, I've been doing this for almost 2 years, and I would still consider myself a novice player, though. If you were to play me, you'd be like, oh, no, Colette, you're pretty good at it. Well, I've been playing for a little bit too, It is good exercise. The court's a lot smaller. You only go up to 11 for the score. You have to win by 2. You can play singles or you can play doubles. And most of the times we're playing doubles because when you play pickleball by yourself with just one other person, you have to cover that whole court. And it's a lot more physical activity because you're running back and forth, side to side, trying to keep up with that pickleball.
How does somebody like me challenge you to a pickleball contest? I've never played.
So Tuesday nights are for our evening. For Tuesday evenings are for our women from 5 to 7. But with the Native Fan program, the fitness and nutrition program here that we have, they have a open session. I believe it's 1 to 3 on Fridays. It's open to community members.
Oh, and you'll be there ready to take me on, right?
Right. Let me know what Friday.
So I understand the Minneapolis Indian Center is, how did this come about, the pickleball? You kind of touched lightly on that, but how did pickleball come in? Because of the nice sized gym and things like that, or?
Really, it came in. I got to give a shout out to a staff person who's no longer here, and that's Joseph Regente. Joe and I were the ones. Joe was managing the Fan Fitness Center at this point, and we just really, we were hearing a lot of talk around pickleball, and we realized that, there's really no pickleball courts in this area in South Minneapolis. And we figured that we could have a niche in because, like even on really hot days, you can still play pickleball because we're indoors. The weather doesn't really affect us, again, because we're indoors, The thing about pickleball is that once you understand the rules and the scoring and everything, you don't need a ref. You ref yourselves, So I mean, we don't have to. There's no extra expense for doing pickleball. If you listen, you can hear sometimes on the news, you'll hear controversies of people who are tennis players and who are feeling like they're getting squeezed out of their tennis courts because of pickleball being such a huge interest in, it was really geared towards, pickleball is really geared towards elders, but a lot of people have found out that it's really an intergenerational activity. You could have an older person and a younger person, playing with each other. And I really like that aspect of it, trying to keep our younger people involved too. And in fact, I've even approached our tribal chairman, Farron Jackson from Leech Lake, and telling him about like the res should start putting up some pickleball courts around, and those tennis courts that aren't being used, let's get them back into use and put pickleball lines out there. So like when the building was being constructed, it was kind of a chore for us to get these pickleball lines onto our gym court because we needed a time where the gym wasn't going to be used for like 3 days, like 72 hours. And so I had to figure out between all the other programs, the Boys and Girls Club, the Clan program, the fitness and nutrition, I had to figure out a time frame where, no one would be using the gym. And I found a time frame. We set it up. And then the person who was supposed to come in and do the pickleball lines got sick.
Oh,
and then we had to start. Oh, my God. I was like, are you kidding me? It took me a little bit for us to get organized. Like, then I had to start all over again. And I mean, we managed to, but, the building is so busy, There's a lot of things going on here. So we found it. We found another time frame that worked. The guy was able to come in. And then once we had those lines down, then pickleball was off and running. we had someone who came in here, and there was 4 of us that were first initially shown how to play pickleball, because none of us had, played before, so once we got going, we were all really excited. And then we've just been teaching whoever comes in, we are teaching people how to play pickleball and encouraging them to, play with other people, play with their grandkids, So I find it a lot of fun. I play pickleball with my granddaughter. I've brought her here, and she's had a lot of fun playing pickleball with us.
How do I get a pickleball jersey? And are they numbered, or how does that work? Or maybe
You know what?
Misko should design one. Oh, wow.
I know, really, right? I think that something we probably need to take a look at. We don't have any, we had t-shirts and we had some jackets or hoodies that we gave out at the beginning of this session, which was like this past fall. But other than that, right now, we don't have nothing available, just for the women who are playing.
Oh, and I think our producer Misko plays too.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Maybe she can jump on here real quick and give her insight. Misko, how's it going? Can design a new pickleball uniform.
Hey, yeah. I think in the past we've had Antea design them, and she does an amazing job. I think one of them had fancy dancers on them, and the most recent one had like Ojibwe or floral designs on them. And I just love pickleball. I always want to go back to the Indian Center. It brings me back. And again, I've played with so many elders. Colette, she hit the ball and I fell and I had bruises on my knees because I was trying way too hard, but regardless, it's a fun sport, and I think it's easily accessible to anybody who wants to play.
Yeah, and why don't we too, Colette, give the address, and if there's any website information you want to give out too, give the address to the Indian Center.
Yes, our address here at our Minneapolis is 1530 East Franklin. We're really right on the T of Franklin Avenue in Bloomington. Our website is www.maicnet.org.
Perfect.
Not.com.org. So
it's an organization, definitely.
Yes.
So, Misko, you play. So, is the paddles, Colette? Are they there, or do you have to get your own, or how does that work?
We have everything in terms of the paddles and the balls and everything. We do have some women who play at other courts, and you can kind of tell who those ones are because they'll come in with their own paddles.
Do I need to wear a helmet or anything if I play?
No, you're
You sure?
knee pads or anything like that is required, but you just got to watch your footing. You could fall. I mean, people have. So
Oh, I don't want to break a hip though. I am old. Oh, wow, this is great. You got time for another segment? I'd love to talk about what else is going on at the Indian Center. Do you have another?
Yes.
Great, excellent. Hey, we're here with Colette and Lawrence, and we're talking about Hennepin County Heart Health and what they're doing at the Native American Indian Center in Minneapolis, which is just fabulous. And so, hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after the short break. Stay with us. Ho! Let's hear it, Misko.
Oh.
All right, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hi, I'm Tiergan.
And I'm Hadley.
We're two of the very first listeners, and we're
still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are with our friend Colette Lawrence, and we're talking a little bit about the Hennepin County Heart Health at the Native American Indian Center in Minneapolis. And we're talking specifically about pickleball, but there's other things going on too that you do there. And what I really like to hear about is those meals that you have for our elders. But tell us a little bit more about the other activities that the Minneapolis American Indian Center is supporting. And again, welcome back. Thanks for being on, Colette.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, the Indian Center is really busy. We have, several programs here besides the Native Elder Support Team. We have a Boys and Girls Club targeting the Native community. We also have our CLAN program, the Cultural Language and Arts Network, along with the Native Fan Fitness and Nutrition Program. So the NEST program is housed within the FAN program, specifically because of the fitness and nutrition aspect that FAN offers. We have very high rates of diabetes and other chronic health conditions within our community. And so we're really trying to help to address those. A lot of our elders that come in for morning enrichment may go into the fitness center or into the gym to simply walk around our gym. 18 laps around the gym is the equivalent to 1 mile. We have about a handful of elders who come. So like today, it's really hot. I haven't been outside since I got into the building this morning, but I've asked a couple of the elders when they were coming in, is it hot out there? And they're like, yes, it is, so, once they get here, I always tell people, once you get into the building, you're safe, so they'll go either into the gym to go walk, or they'll go maybe lift some light weights or use an elliptical machine in the fitness center. But we're really busy. We have a congregate lunch program Monday through Friday here. On Wednesday evening is our drum and dance. On Tuesday night it's pickleball. In Wednesday night it's drum and dance. So there's different, you'd have to take a look at our schedule. Every week a schedule gets posted so people are aware. It's on a rolling screen right by the front entry. So you can kind of see what's going on within the building every day. And I do believe it gets posted online too.
Yeah, I see it all over social media too. Natalie does a great job of
Yes.
posting stuff all over, and guys are lucky to have her. She's awesome. So, what other, those are a lot of great activities. What can people go do, learn more, and how do they get involved more? How can people get involved?
Well, it depends on how you want to get involved or in which program. Like we even have like the CLAN program has a sewing circle that they have. I call it a sewing circle because I want, we want for people to know all are welcome, including men. Some of the best sewers I know are men, so we have certain different things that I think some people might think, it's not just for women. Men are definitely invited to those things too. You just have to really keep your eye out on our website.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful building, and with the renovation, I love going down there when I'm on the avenue on Franklin Avenue, the Native American corridor, and all the activity that's going on, whether it's Native American Community Clinic being rebuilt and a beautiful big building, and then down the street there's another clinic being built in the Native community, and just proud, and being an older person, just how much Franklin Avenue has changed for the good all these years. It's just amazing.
Right, right. I think all the changes are all for the best for our community.
Yeah. So again, how can people get a hold of you, or get a hold of the activities? There's Facebook, and also a great website.
Yes. Though you know what, I'm not on no social media, so it's,
Yeah.
you'd have to call me or email me directly here at the Indian Center.
Smoke
All of our
signals.
email addresses are the initial of our first name and then our last name, and then it's at maicnet.org. So I mean, if you knew that, then you'll know how to get a hold of anyone, as long as you know their first and last name.
Yeah, Minneapolis Indian Center, and just great things. So much, let's just talk about the center for real quick too. Along with your program, you got Charlie's shop there. You have Gatherings Cafe. You have the workout room. You have rooms to rent if you have anything going on. It's
We
just
have the art gallery.
Yes, it's really beautiful. I just saw that again recently. Somebody's really taken whole ownership of that. It looks great.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So, anything else that you'd like to bring up?
Um, well, you know what? I mean, I think that, remembering that we are a very well, how do I want to say, resilient community.
Okay.
We
Hmm.
come together when we need to, though we're always together anyways. But I think one of our stronger aspects for our even all of our programming is our intergenerational, intentional things that we do around programming. And
Mm.
keeping our elders and our young people together. I always want to talk about that because I think that it's one of the strengths within our community is the intergenerational component. That our elders are always high on that radar of when things happen, like when COVID happened,
Mhm.
and a lot of communities struggled, and we understanding that struggle and just all came together and did what we needed to do for our people, for our elders, and even for our young people. So we're a resilient group of people, and though we do have struggles, we overcome those, and we tend to come out better on the other end. Though going through it sometimes might not always seem like it, but we come out better usually.
Wow, those are really great points, especially with what's happened with the surge, the federal surge.
Right.
You know, just all the things that have happened in Minneapolis and how resilient the community has stepped up, and the Minneapolis American Indian Center and all these great organizations have stepped up. And so, how long you been at the Native American Minneapolis American Indian Center?
I am coming up to my 10 years actually next
Whoa.
month. August 22nd will be 10 years that I've been here. And, you know, I feel very fortunate to be working in a job that, like, we were just talking about this at a site visit for a grant that we applied for. And I said, it just seems like I just started yesterday, and
Oh.
sad to say that a lot of people can't say that about their jobs, but I just really enjoy the work that I'm doing and the people I'm working with and for, more importantly, and that's our elders.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like too how the community, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, is that it's not just the Native community that you're supporting. It's when we're doing well, everybody's doing well, and that's an important thing that I really get from the Hennepin County Heart Health initiative that you're working on and everything else that the Minneapolis Indian Center is working on. So I just want to say a big thank you and a big peeny gigi for being on and speaking your truth and telling our listening audience about everything.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me too.
Well, this has been great. Thank you. And this has been Colette Lawrence, who is the Minneapolis American Indian Center person with the program, Hennepin County's program, Health and Heart. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we are going to be back tomorrow. And everyone have a great day. And if you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on, it's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, vote, and play pickleball. Well, we're still here. We are the seventh generation.